Self-publishing for the first time can be overwhelming, to say the least. And really, it kind of should be. I mean, think about the fact that an independent author is the author and the publisher. That means they're responsible for everything. Everything that a traditional publishing house would normally take care of falls on the author. There is a lot to learn and understand about the process, but in this video, we're just going to do a brief overview of the process so that you have an understanding of where to start and you can kind of see what's coming. Hopefully this makes the self-publishing process seem a little less opaque and a I'm Victoria, author, editor, and the owner of Blue Pen. Our team at Blue Pen includes editors and designers. We help authors through the entire self-publishing process, and we work with traditional authors as well. Before we get into this, it's important to keep in mind that this is very much an overview. There is a lot to the self-publishing process, definitely a lot more than we can talk about in a brief video. I am going to drop a link in the description box to a blog post that has some more in-depth information about the self-publishing process. And of course, you can check out our other articles and videos, which go into more detail about specific aspects of the process. Alrighty, first things first. You need to make sure that self-publishing is the best route for you. Some people will try to say that traditional publishing or self-publishing is better inherently than the other, and that's just not true. They both have pros and cons, and it's important to think about what's best for your writing career and your specific book. Basically, with self-publishing, the author has all of the control and all of the responsibility. Of course, there's a bit more to it than that. Again, I'll drop a link in the description box with an in-depth breakdown of self-publishing versus traditional publishing with and without an agent. There's a lot to look at, but if all of the control and all of the responsibility sounds good to you, then self-publishing might be a good fit. Once you have decided that self-publishing is the route you want to take, the next step is to answer some nuts and bolts questions about how you're going to get that done. Even within the self-publishing process, there is not one specific way that it is done every time. It does depend on your goals. One of the first things to look at is your self-publishing platform. As a matter of terminology, it's important to remember that the self-publishing platform is responsible for printing and distribution. This is not the same thing as a publisher. That's important to remember. It's also important to note that anyone who is offering self-publishing services like editing, cover design, interior layout, they're not publishers either. They're simply service providers, and they're going to offer those services on a contract basis. Blue Pen, that's how we work. The important distinction here is that you maintain all of your rights and royalties. You pay these service providers up front, and after the service is completed, your relationship with them is over. All right, so back to self-publishing platforms. The two biggies that you're going to want to look at are KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing from Amazon, and Ingram Spark. Again, there is a lot to this, but basically, KDP is best for online sales, and Ingram Spark is best for getting into bookstores and libraries. To reach the widest possible audience, you'll want to publish through both platforms. Just remember to upload and publish to KDP first so that the KDP version populates to Amazon. You might also use an aggregator like Draft to Digital. Aggregators help you publish through multiple platforms simultaneously. However, they're not as efficient as going direct, so it's important to go direct through KDP and Ingram Spark. But to cast a really wide net, I would recommend publishing your paperback and ebook through KDP, your print version through Ingram Spark, and then your ebook through Draft to Digital. Then you'll want to look at getting ISBNs. You can get a free ISBN from KDP or Ingram Spark, but the catch is that you can only use that free ISBN on that platform. So if you are publishing through multiple platforms, you will have to purchase your own ISBN. If you're interested in getting into bookstores, it's also really good to have your own ISBN. The free ones are going to show your book as independently published, and that can limit your reach. In the United States, you'll purchase your ISBN directly from Bowker. That's at myidentifiers.com. You'll need an ISBN for each version of your book. So separate ISBNs for paperback, hardcover, ebook. The cheapest way to get ISBNs from Bowker is to buy a bundle of 10 instead of buying them individually. And I'd recommend you go ahead and get your ISBN before you get into the rest of the process, because you're going to need that before the interior is complete, at least. The next big decision is whether you're going to hire freelancers or work with a company or team who has multiple professionals all working together. So you could hire an individual editor or even multiple editors if they specialize in developmental or line editing. And then you could hire interior designers and cover designers, or you can go with a company like Blue Pen who offers everything. Some companies may also offer project managers and support and assistance walking you through the process. Blue Pen does. We have team members called book bosses who help you make decisions and coordinate all of your services and make sure everything goes smoothly. But of course, every company is going to have varying levels of support, and it's also important to make sure that you are working with a trustworthy, legitimate company. Same goes for individual professionals, but you might run into a few more scammy companies than freelancers. Before you work with anybody in the industry, please go check out Writer Beware. It is a fantastic resource. Again, I'll link it in the description box. They maintain lists of known vanity presses and scams. It's such a good resource for indie authors. No matter what, make sure you're doing your due diligence before you sign on the dotted line. Alrighty, decision time is over for now. You know which self-publishing platforms you're going to use. You know which formats you're going to publish in. That's also important. Don't believe I mentioned that. Ebook, paperback, hardcover. It's important to know which or all of the above you're going to publish your book in. And you've secured your ISBN and possibly found some professionals to help you with the rest of the steps. Now you're going to get to work. First things first, editing. Now, professional editing is not a replacement for self-editing. You should have already self-edited your manuscript. You should have recruited beta readers and revised based on their feedback. You should have gotten your manuscript to the best place that you can by yourself. At that point, that's when you start looking at developmental editing. So developmental editing, you're going to look at the story level elements, characterization, plot, structure. We do this first because it is more efficient. You don't want to waste time perfecting the prose just to go back and cut scenes and chapters down the road. After developmental editing, you're going to look at line editing, which is prose level editing for concision, clarity, correctness, and consistency. Line editing is very, very important for bringing the prose to a professional level. A good line editor will really, really strengthen that prose while also highlighting your unique voice. Be sure that you're working with a line editor who has experience in your genre and age category. The final step in the editing process is proofreading, and that is just catching residual errors, objective mistakes that we don't want to let slip through to the final version. After the editing is complete, the manuscript is in its final form, then we're going to start interior layout. This is the process of actually turning a manuscript into a book. Professional interior layout is done using InDesign, and it requires, number one, designing the elements. So those cool chapter headings and choosing fonts and actually laying out the pages and all of that good stuff. And then the interior designer starts typesetting. And that's the process of going line by line through the manuscript and laying it out on the pages. At the end of this, you're going to have an upload-ready PDF file that will be printed directly onto those lovely book pages. Included in this is also ebook production. The important thing with ebook design is that it should be reflowable. So it should look good on any device, phone, computer, e-reader, whether it's in landscape mode or portrait orientation, and regardless of the color and font size. So it can't be a static PDF. Once your interior layout is complete, you should have an EPUB file for your ebook and a PDF for your print interior, and then you're ready to get started with cover design. With the finalized interior, you have the final page count, which you'll need to calculate your spine width, or your cover designer will need to calculate spine width. Now, you may have actually already gotten started with cover design. At Blue Pen, we like to go ahead and get going on cover concepts simultaneously, and then we finalize after the interior is complete. Like editing, it's important with cover design to find someone who understands your genre and has experience in it. A reader should be able to gauge the genre just by looking at your cover. When we work with cover design, what we do is send our clients a design brief with questions about their vision for the cover and their story and important symbols and the tone and just all kinds of questions, so we understand what they're looking for, if they're looking for something specific, and so we get the information that our design needs to get creative. You want someone who's going to be true to your vision and the aesthetic of your story, while also introducing their own creativity and skills and expertise. In today's world, it's very important that your cover looks good on the actual book and as a thumbnail. Before the cover design is finalized, you'll also need to provide the designer with your back cover blurb, whether you wrote it or hired someone else to. If you're publishing through KDP and Ingram Spark, then your designer will send you 2 different versions of the print PDF cover. The templates are slightly different for KDP and Ingram Spark, but they will look the same once they're printed. At this point, you should have your finalized interior files and cover files. The next thing you'll want to do is head over to Bowker, log into your account, and assign those ISBNs. Make sure that you are assigning the ISBNs to the correct version of your book. Open up that completed interior and check the ISBNs on the copyright page to make sure everything lines up. Also, make sure you are adding the information exactly as it appears on your cover. So if you use your middle initial on your cover, make sure you're using your middle initial in Bowker. After you've assigned your ISBNs, you are ready to upload. So you can upload to KDP, Ingram Spark, Drafted Digital, whatever you're using. You can order your proof copies to check it out before you go live, and with ebooks on KDP, you can do a pre-order if you like. Once you're published, the next step is to market. You may have already started this. You might have prepared a launch campaign around the actual publication of your book to generate excitement and start gathering that readership. You may have sent out advanced reader copies. It's important to try to get those reviews. Reviews are so important for the sales of self-published books. But of course, there are so many ways to market your book, from social media to paid advertisements on Amazon. You can go check out your local bookstores and libraries, see if they'll stock your book, and maybe do some book signings. And then, of course, start working on the next one. Alrighty, well, that has been a very brief overview of the self-publishing process. If you're looking for a team to stand behind you as you self-publish, get in touch with us at Blue Pen. We will talk to you about your goals and make sure you understand the industry and guide you through this whole process, coordinating your services and everything we just talked about. But no matter who you go with to support your process, just make sure they're reliable and experienced and legitimate professionals. I hope you feel like the self-publishing process is a little bit more approachable now. It's something you can do. You can handle it. You just need the right folks in your corner. If you have any questions, leave a comment or get in touch with us at bluepenbooks.com. Happy writing, and I'll see y'all next time.